Beloved child, when I place my hand upon your life to restore and realign it, you will gradually begin to notice something different, something you have never truly experienced before. You will no longer be so easily shaken by the storms around you. Not because you have become hardened in the way the world praises strength, but because something deep within you has been made steady. As it is written, the one who builds his house upon the rock, though the rain falls, the floods rise, and the winds blow, that house will not fall, because it has been founded upon the rock. Matthew 7:24-25. I am laying that foundation within you, not outwardly, but in the deepest places of your heart. The voices of criticism will no longer throw you into confusion. Disappointments will no longer cause you to lose your direction, and the waves of anxiety will no longer carry you away as they once did. You will stand firm not by your own strength, but by the quiet grace that sustains you day after day, and you will come to see that this transformation is not the result of learning how to appear stronger, but of allowing me to heal and restore you from within. The posture of your life changes not because you are trying to control yourself more carefully, but because you are no longer carrying the burdens that were never meant for you. As it is written, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. When you release what does not belong to you, even your body begins to learn how to live in peace and lightness again. And within that lightness, a new kind of beauty begins to emerge, a beauty that is not loud or attention-seeking, but deep, gentle, and enduring. I do not need you to shine in order to be noticed. I desire for you to stand firmly rooted so you may be ready to receive the things I have long prepared for you. There is something you must understand. Beloved, the very body that once trembled beneath pressure and weariness will become one of the clearest reflections of the transformation I am bringing forth within you. When you begin to walk without rushing, when your smile is no longer a mask, when your eyes no longer avoid life but are able to look directly into it, others will begin to notice that something has changed. Yet you will not need to explain it to them. As it is written, let your light shine before others. Matthew 5:16. My presence within you will speak for itself. What they see will not be the result of your striving, but the natural fruit of a journey you have patiently walked with me, step by step, day after day. I am not turning you into someone unfamiliar. I am restoring you back to who you truly are, the person I formed from the very beginning. Before wounds, fears, and false expectations covered your heart. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. I have always known you in your most whole and unbroken form, and I am leading you back to that place. And the first sign of this restoration will not be outward success, but the sense of relief you begin to feel within yourself. You will notice that it becomes easier to breathe, easier to dwell within your own body, as though something heavy is quietly being lifted away without force or striving. That is the sign that my light is rising within you silently, gently, yet impossibly unstoppable. You do not need to accomplish something extraordinary in order to enter the new season I have prepared for you. I am not asking you to prove yourself, nor am I requiring you to reach some impossible standard before I begin to move in your life. I only ask that you continue walking forward with the very body that is being restored, with the rhythm of life that is slowly being realigned, and with a heart willing to trust even before everything becomes clear. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith. Romans 1:17. Every step you take in that trust is bringing you closer to the purpose I have already prepared for you. And when you begin to slow down, when you no longer strive to appear strong as you once did, I will lead you into a deeper place, a place where you no longer need to hide anything. I do not find you in the hardened shell you built to protect yourself. I find you in the cracks, in the place where you surrender, where you have nothing left to hold back. As it is written, The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. It is in that tenderness that you are closer to me than ever before. Do not fear your tears, for they do not make you weaker, they make you more truthful. And in the place where you are most truthful, I work most powerfully. I remember David, a king, a warrior, and yet a man who many times fell down in tears. He did not hide his pain, he offered it to me. And within those laments, I restored him, renewed him, and used him to fulfill great things. You, too, do not need to become untouchable in order to be used by me. You only need to be honest, for in that honesty, you open the door for me to enter and do what you cannot do on your own. Beloved child, remain in the truthfulness you are slowly learning. Do not return to the shells you once built to protect yourself from pain. I am not calling you to become invulnerable. I am inviting you to become real, so real that you no longer need to hide. No longer need to pretend to be strong when your heart is weary. For in the place where you surrender, I begin to lift you up. As it is written, humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. James 4:10. You do not lose your worth when you are tender before me. Rather, you step into the very place for which you were created, a beloved child, upheld and sustained. When you stop straining to hold yourself together, you will discover another kind of strength, not loud, not showy, but enduring and impossible to take away. It is not the strength that comes from controlling everything, but the strength that comes from being kept. As it is written, the Lord is my strength and my shield. Psalm 28:7. You do not need to bear everything on your own, for I am there to bear it with you. And when you allow me to carry what belongs to me, you will find that you are no longer exhausted as before, no longer dragged down by pressures you once believed you had to endure alone. In that strength, you will begin to walk differently, no longer with anxious steps, no longer driven by fear or by the need to prove yourself. You will walk in freedom, the freedom of one who knows they are loved without condition. As it is written, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. That freedom does not come because every difficulty has disappeared, but because you are no longer bound by the fears within you. You will no longer need to pretend in order to be accepted, no longer need to force yourself into some version of who you think you must become in order to be worthy. You will live as yourself, a person being healed, being restored, and being guided step by step. As it is written, I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Isaiah 42:16. You do not need to know the whole road ahead, because I already know it. What you need is to remain, to trust, and to let me continue the work I have begun within you. And on that journey, you will realize that fear is slowly losing its power, not because your circumstances have become perfect, but because your heart has been placed upon a firmer foundation. You will face life not as one merely trying to survive, but as one being led, not as one searching for love, but as one already abiding in love. So remain there, in the place where you do not need to prove yourself, where you do not need to hide, where you do not need to be perfect. Let me continue working within you, little by little, day by day. And when you look back, you will see that what I have done was not only to change your circumstances, but to transform you, yourself, from within, deeply and irreversibly. I want you to understand something you do not need to fight to earn. I have never turned away from a broken heart when it is honest before me. I do not wait for you to become strong before drawing near to you, nor do I require you to fix yourself enough to be worthy before you come to me. As it is written, the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise. Psalm 51:17. I treasure honesty more than any perfect image you could ever construct. And it is precisely when you recognize your imperfections, when you stop trying to hide or polish them, that you open the widest door for me to enter. You do not need to perform a role before me. I do not need a carefully controlled performance, nor polished words that lack truth. I seek a heart willing to lay down its defenses, willing to whisper in weakness, I need you. And beloved, even one honest cry like that is enough for me to surround you with a tenderness you have never known before. As it is written, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. James 4:8. The distance between you and me has never been about your ability, but about your willingness to open your heart. Remember David, a man called after my own heart, not because he was always strong, but because he was always real before me. There were times when he fled in fear, when he was betrayed, when he wept in anguish, yet he did not hide those emotions. He brought them before me, turning his pain into prayer and his panic into songs. As it is written, I have found David, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will. Acts 13:22. Not because he was flawless, but because he did not hide himself from me. And it was that honesty that allowed me to touch him more deeply than any victory he ever achieved. And so it is with you. I do not need you to become untouchable. I do not ask you to stand as though you have never fallen. I only ask that you be real enough to bring everything within you, even the weakest parts, before me. For it is in that weakness that my grace has room to grow. As it is written, my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. You do not need to be ashamed of your limitations. Those very places are where my power is most beautifully revealed. Do not think that I am present only in grand moments or dramatic spiritual experiences. More often, I come to you in far gentler ways. Perhaps it is in the middle of a sleepless night, when in the silence you feel as though an unseen hand has rested softly upon your shoulder. Perhaps in the midst of chaotic thoughts, a quiet sense of peace suddenly whispers within you, I am here. Perhaps it is an unexpected word of kindness from someone, a verse that touches the exact place where your heart aches, or a melody that arrives at the moment you need it most. These things are not accidents. It is me sitting beside you, not forcing you, not demanding anything from you, simply remaining there until you are ready to rise again. I remember Elijah. When he became so exhausted that he wanted to give up everything, he no longer had the strength to pray, nor the faith to continue. Yet I did not rebuke him, nor tell him to try harder. First, I gave him rest. I gave him food. I cared for his body before speaking of anything greater. And then I did not come to him through the mighty wind, nor through the earthquake, nor through the fire, but through a still, gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. Do you see? Beloved, I do not require you to always be strong or overflowing with faith. I receive you when you are tired, when you are empty, when all you have left is a fragile breath. For even that breath, when it is honest, is already a prayer. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. You do not need many words for me to hear you. I understand even the things you cannot yet express. I hear even the sighs you cannot put into language. And I am there not to force you to stand immediately, but to remain with you exactly where you are. So do not fear your weakness. Do not try to hide the cracks within your heart. It is through those very places that my light will enter. It is there that healing will begin. And it is there that you will discover you were never rejected at all. You simply had not yet drawn close enough to realize that I had always been there, waiting for you, loving you, and ready to embrace you exactly as you are. Beloved child, Do not allow the moments when you break apart to become a source of shame or a reason to close your heart. You often think that every crack is a sign of failure, but I see them as openings through which my light can reach even deeper into you. I do not cancel my plans because of your weaknesses, rather. I use those very things to build within you a different kind of strength, one that is not loud or boastful, but deeply rooted from within. As it is written, my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. The place where you believe you are weakest is often the very place where I move most clearly. When you stop trying to carry everything by yourself, when you stop fighting alone, you will begin to realize that I have never left you, and I have never allowed you to face anything in complete loneliness. You have often wondered whether I grow weary of embracing your failures and your repeated weaknesses. Hear me clearly, and let this truth be deeply planted within your heart. True love never becomes tired. I am patient with you, not because you are perfect, but because I chose you from the very beginning. As it is written, I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore with loving kindness I have drawn you. Jeremiah 31:3. Before you ever understood what pain was, I had already prepared healing for you. Before you knew what fear felt like, I had already placed comfort along your path. And it is often in the moments you consider meaningless when you sit alone, quiet, confused, and covered in tears that I begin miracles no one else can see. Those are the moments when I touch the truest part of you, not the shell you built to survive, but who you truly are beneath it all. You once believed that maturity meant rising quickly, achieving visible things, becoming strong in ways the world could recognize and applaud. But beloved, in my kingdom, maturity is not measured by what you accomplish, but by how tightly you cling to me, even when you have nothing to display. As it is written, he is like a tree planted by streams of water, its leaves do not wither, and whatever he does prospers. Psalm 1:3. Not because the tree grows quickly, but because its roots grow deep. A tall tree with shallow roots is easily uprooted, but a tree with deep roots remains standing through countless storms. And that is what I am doing within you, not so you may shine for a moment, but so you may become deep, steady, and immovable. I am not in a hurry with you, so do not rush yourself either. Every step I lead you through, even when it feels slow or as though you are standing still, is part of the symphony I am writing over your life. There are days you think you are making no progress, yet beneath the surface, the roots of your faith are quietly spreading deeper into the soil. As it is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. The days when you endure patiently without bitterness, when you wait without despair, when you keep walking without understanding everything, those are the days you are truly growing. Not through blazing displays of light, but through a quiet light that never goes out. Remember Joseph, who carried great dreams within him, yet passed through long years hidden in darkness. He was sold, misunderstood, imprisoned, and through all of it, no one recognized what I was doing in him. But I was accomplishing something unseen. I was deepening his roots. He learned faithfulness when no one was watching, integrity when there was no reward, patience when there were no explanations. And because his roots had grown so deep, when I finally placed him in a position of authority, he was not consumed by power nor lost himself within it. Do you see? Beloved, maturity is not formed upon the stage, but in the hidden backstage of trust and obedience over time. Do not think the ups and downs you experience are signs of weak faith. In truth, they are the rhythm of a genuine spiritual life. No one walks with me along a path that is always straight and smooth. There are seasons when you move quickly, seasons when you slow down, and seasons when you stumble. But if you continue holding on to me, every one of those moments becomes part of your growth. As it is written, though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. What matters is not that you never fall, but that you do not leave me when you do. I have even designed the dry seasons in your life not to empty you, but to force your roots to reach deeper and cling more firmly to the true source of life. And one day, when others look at you and wonder why you remain so steady, you will understand that it was the storms, the droughts, and the moments you thought you could no longer continue that shaped who you are today. Not because you became strong in your own way, but because you remained long enough within my love to be transformed. Beloved child, when you do not yet see obvious things happening before your eyes, do not rush to conclude that you are not growing. You have become accustomed to the world's way of measuring progress, looking at visible results to evaluate growth, but in my ways, maturity often happens quietly, like roots spreading deep beneath the earth where no one can see them. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith, Hebrews 10:38, not by dazzling achievements, nor by visible victories, but by continuing to trust through uncertain steps. When you choose silence instead of responding to hurtful words, when you forgive without needing recognition, when you continue praying even while your heart feels empty, that is when you are truly maturing. And I see every one of those moments, even when no one else does. You think that maturity must reveal itself through grand and visible signs, but I tell you that it often begins through the small choices you quietly make each day. As it is written, the Lord looks at the heart, 1 Samuel 16:7. I do not measure you by what you display outwardly, but by the things you remain faithful to in secret, when you still choose to love, even when love is not returned, when you continue to stand for what is right, even when you stand alone, when you keep returning to me, even when your emotions are no longer as passionate as before. That is when the roots of faith are spreading deep within you. There may be no applause, no recognition, but heaven notices every single thing. And I am pleased, not because you are perfect, but because you refuse to give up. You must understand that living by faith is not a constant emotional high, but a repeated journey of choosing. Every morning you rise and still choose to believe that I am good, even though your circumstances have not changed. That is faith. Every time you rise again when no one sees. Every time you continue loving after your heart has been wounded. Every time you keep walking without knowing what awaits you ahead. That is when you are not only taking root, but also blooming from within. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. That quiet light is growing within you even though it is not loud. It cannot be extinguished. Remember that once a seed has taken root, it does not struggle to grow. It grows according to the appointed season. As it is written, the earth produces crops by itself, first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. Mark 4:28. You do not need to force yourself to become something overnight. When your faith is nourished through faithfulness, it will grow naturally, stage by stage. You do not need to do great things to prove that you have faith. Even a small light is enough to drive back thick darkness. Even one small act of love can change someone's entire day. And your faith, even when it trembles, still carries within it a power far greater than you realize. I am not searching for faith that is large in appearance. I am searching for faith that is genuine in nature. As it is written, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, Matthew 17:20. What I desire is not display, but sincerity. When you continue praying, even when your heart no longer feels passionate, when you continue living uprightly, even when no one notices, when you remain kind after being hurt many times, that is, faith spreading outward like gentle ripples upon water, quiet, not powerful in the way you imagined, yet steady and reaching farther than you know. There are impacts you may never immediately see. A gentle word you speak to someone may become the only light they receive in their darkest day. A small act you offer may be the very thing that keeps them from collapsing. As it is written, pleasant words are like honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. You do not fully know all that I am doing through you, but I know, and I am using those seemingly small things to reach places you never imagined possible. So do not wait until you see visible results before believing you are moving forward. You are already moving forward right now in every quiet choice, in every small step, in every moment you continue choosing to trust. I overlook nothing. I forget no effort, and I am leading you not toward temporary success, but toward lasting steadiness, where you will not only stand firm yourself, but also become a source of light for others, even when you do not realize it. Beloved child, I have shown you many times that very small things, when surrendered in trust, can become the beginning of something beyond your understanding. I once used 5 loaves and 2 fish from an unknown boy to feed a great multitude, a miracle that did not begin from abundance, but from a willing heart. As it is written, here is a boy with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them. John 6:9-11. What I need is not how much you possess, but whether you are willing to place what you have into my hands. When you offer a small kindness, a sincere word of encouragement, or a quiet act of forgiveness, you are placing seeds into my hands that I will use to accomplish far greater things than you can see. Do not think you must wait until you become stronger, more perfect, or more recognized before you can live by faith. Faith does not begin from having enough. It begins from willingness. When you choose kindness on a weary day, when you speak words of love while your own heart is still hurting, when you remain faithful even when no one sees, that is when you step into the flow of miracles. As it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. I am watching that faithfulness, not the size of the action. And through those very small things, I am quietly opening doors you cannot yet recognize. I know there are days when your faith feels like nothing more than a fragile candle flickering in the wind. You may feel as though you are about to go out, as though you no longer have the strength to keep believing. But beloved, even a tiny ember can burst into flame again when it is gently cared for. As it is written, a bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. Isaiah 42:3. I do not come to extinguish the weak and trembling parts within you. I come to preserve and rekindle them. I do not breathe upon you with violent winds that would overwhelm you, but with the gentle warmth of my presence, enough to keep the flame within you alive. Every day you continue choosing to believe, even if only a little, is another day you are drawing closer to the things I have prepared for you. Do not underestimate the steadiness of those seemingly small days. That very steadiness is the clearest evidence that your faith is alive, not rooted in changing emotions, not dependent upon favorable circumstances, but anchored in me. As it is written, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. Hebrews 10:23. I am not seeking moments of sudden intensity that quickly burn out. I am seeking a steady stream that continues faithfully without ceasing. Perhaps you have wondered whether your small faith truly matters. I tell you that it was that very faith that held you together when you wanted to give up. It kept you standing when you thought you could not continue. It moved you to keep praying, even when answers did not come immediately. That is not weakness, that is true strength. As it is written, my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. That strength does not boast or draw attention to itself, yet nothing can extinguish it. I do not need a storm of faith in order to work within you. I desire a faithful stream of faith that continues flowing through every day, every circumstance, every small decision. And over time, that stream will carve deeper paths, widening places where grace and love can flow freely. As it is written, "Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them." John 7:38. What begins within you will not end with you. It will overflow and touch those around you in ways you cannot measure. And then you will discover something that will astonish you. Even a simple, steady, sincere faith is enough to change the atmosphere around you. No great recognition is needed. No loud display. No extraordinary achievement. Only that you continue believing, continue walking, and continue offering what you have. Beloved child, open your heart fully to me, not only the parts you are proud of, but also the hidden corners you still quietly keep to yourself. When you surrender your whole life to me without holding anything back, you will slowly begin to witness a beautiful transformation. The long nights that once felt endless will begin to open into dawn. As it is written, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Psalm 30:5. Not because circumstances instantly change, but because my light has begun shining into the deepest places within you. I do not love you in stages, nor does my love shift according to your emotions. My love remains constant through every rise and fall. And within that constancy, you will find the foundation you need to keep moving forward. Walk by faith, not because you already see the road clearly, but because you trust the one who is leading you. There will be turns you do not understand and repetitions that seem meaningless. But I tell you that nothing is wasted. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. Every experience, every wound, every moment you pause to care for another person, I am gathering all of it together and weaving it into something greater. What you now call delay may one day become the bridge through which you help carry another soul. And when that day comes, you will be grateful that you did not give up. I am pouring out grace upon you in ways you have not yet fully seen. Doors you believed were permanently closed will open at the appointed time. Strength you thought you did not possess will rise within you when you need it most. Clarity will come not through striving, but through quietness, where you learn how to listen. And my comfort will not merely visit you, it will remain with you. As it is written, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. You will complete your journey not by your own strength, but through my faithfulness revealed in every step you take. And when you look back, you will realize that your life was never merely a chain of events, but a living testimony that I have always kept my promises. Keep these words within your heart. Meditate upon them not only during peaceful moments, but also in the hours when you feel shaken. Let them remain with you beneath the light of day and through the stillness of night. Learn to rest within my care and awaken with renewed hope. You do not need to carry all your questions alone. Bring them to me, for I am not only the one who knows the answers, I am the one who remains with you through the journey of searching. Do not think that I am present only in the days when you feel strong. When your faith overflows, I am still there quietly and faithfully when you walk through the dark corridors of your soul, where everything seems slower and answers no longer feel clear. As it is written, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. I do not leave when your songs disappear, nor step away when silence is all you have left. And when you sit there not knowing what to do, it is precisely then that I am holding you gently, patiently, tenderly, without force. Every part of you, whether bright or dark, clear or still tangled in confusion, has value in my eyes. I do not desire only the parts of your life you have already put in order, but also the parts you still do not understand yourself. Open your heart like a house with many rooms, and do not invite me only into the places you have carefully cleaned. Let me enter even the hidden corners you locked away out of fear of being hurt, judged, or misunderstood. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, John 1:5. I do not come to condemn you, but to bring light into the very places where you are. I do not come to turn you into someone unfamiliar. I come to heal you exactly where you stand, to restore you to the image I placed within you from the very beginning. And when you allow me to fully enter your life, you will begin to realize that no corner is too dark for my light to reach, and no wound is too deep for my healing touch. You do not need to run away from yourself. Beloved child, when you open your heart and allow me into the deepest places within you, you will begin to experience something very different. New life does not always arrive like a loud storm, but like quiet water slowly soaking into places that once felt dry and empty. Transformation rarely begins with dramatic moments. More often, it starts through small movements, a habit you choose to change, a perspective you decide to shift, a right decision you quietly make. As it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. It is within the things you consider insignificant that I am laying the foundation for deeper transformation. I do not wait for you to become perfect before blessing you, because I know you were never called to become flawless before coming to me. It is through the process of being broken and restored, through the moments when you fall and rise again, through the times you allow me to touch the unfinished places within you, that I pour new strength into your life. Strength you could never create on your own. Do not fear the unfinished parts of your story, for they do not surprise me. In truth, those incomplete chapters are making you deeper, gentler, and more capable of touching others with genuine compassion. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. I do not erase the cracks within you. I transform them into places through which my light can shine. And then, when you enter new relationships, when you stand before the people I place along your journey, that very depth will help you understand them, empathize with them, and love them in ways you never could before. There have been crossroads in your life that left you confused, moments when every option seemed filled with contradiction. But if you step back and look at everything through the light of grace, you will see that those changes in direction were not signs of ruin, but moments of realignment. As it is written, a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. I am guiding you even when you believe you have lost your way. I use your pauses to reveal where you were drifting off course. I use broken relationships to teach you how to love without control. I even use failures to plant humility within you, a foundation necessary for the greater things I will one day place in your hands. Nothing is wasted. No experience is meaningless if you are willing to place it back into my hands. You do not yet realize that the compassion you carry today was formed through tears you once believed were pointless. I saw every one of those tears, and I did not allow them to fall in vain. As it is written, you have kept count of my tears and stored them in your bottle. Psalm 56:8. The pain you once carried is now becoming a bridge through which others can walk. A look filled with understanding. A sincere word born from your own experience. Sometimes, that is the very thing that keeps another soul from giving up. You do not need to know how much you are helping them, nor do you need to measure your impact. You only need to love with your whole heart and leave the rest to me. I am weaving together connections that you cannot yet see. What you once called delay, I am turning into preparation. What you believed was loss, I am transforming into foundation. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that every moment, every choice, every wound, all of it came together to form something whole that you could never have arranged by yourself. As it is written, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ." Philippians 1:6. I do not abandon what I have begun within you. So continue opening your heart. Continue placing into my hands both the things you understand and the things you do not. Let me enter not only the bright and orderly places, but also the corners you once wanted to hide. And in that surrender, you will witness something beautiful. You will no longer be defined by what happened to you, but shaped by what I am doing within you day by day, step by step, in ways quiet yet full of power. Beloved child, let me pour life into the places you once believed had dried up, not through a strength that forces you to strain, but through a power both gentle and enduring. My strength does not come like a crushing weight, but like water quietly carving through stone, like a soft wind capable of changing the direction of an entire forest. As it is written, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, Zechariah 4:6. I do not force you to become strong according to the world's understanding. I lift you from within, making you steady without pride, resilient without hardness. And when you stand in higher places along your journey, it will not be so that you may simply be seen, but so that you may see farther, understand more deeply, and reach down to lift those who are still walking through the valleys. My light will come to you, but not like a flash of lightning that appears and disappears. It comes like the dawn, slowly, patiently, spreading little by little until darkness no longer has a place to remain. As it is written, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Proverbs 4:18. The things within you that once seemed unclear will gradually become visible. You will look back and realize that every fragment, every experience, every moment when you thought you were lost, each one had been arranged with a precision only I could accomplish. And within that light, you will no longer be as confused as before, because you will know that I am guiding every step you take. The comfort I give is not a fleeting emotion that fades away. I do not come merely to soothe you for a moment, but to remain, to make my dwelling place within your heart. As it is written, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. True comfort does not depend upon whether all your questions have been answered. It remains even when you still do not understand everything. Because deep within, you know you are no longer alone. And whenever the winds rise in your life, you will always have a place to return to a foundation that cannot be shaken, which is me. You will complete your journey not through your own wisdom or endless striving, but through my faithfulness. I am not one who begins and then abandons the work unfinished. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. Whatever I have started within you, I will also complete in the right time, in the right way, lacking nothing. And when others look at you, they will not simply see someone who survived many trials. They will see my mark upon your life, a life reflecting a faithfulness that no circumstance could destroy. They will see a person who was not perfect, yet refused to give up. A person who was once weak, yet deeply loved. A person who was once lost, yet called back home and made steadfast again. As it is written, let the one who boasts, boast in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 1:31. Your life itself will become a testimony that needs no explanation, because my presence within you will speak on your behalf. So do not let these words pass through your mind like a gentle breeze and disappear. Let them sink deeply within you into every thought, every breath, every way you see your life. When you open your eyes in the morning, let my voice be the first thing you remember. When you lie down at night, Let my presence surround you with peace. You do not need to carry unanswered questions by yourself. Bring them all to me. Beloved child, I know you still look ahead and see many things that remain unclear, as though you are walking through a thin mist without being able to see the entire road. But you do not need to see the whole path in order to keep moving forward. What you need is not complete visibility, but trust in the one who is holding your hand. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. I do not illuminate the entire journey all at once. I give enough light for each step, and in every one of those steps, no matter how small or slow, I am walking beside you, never leaving, never forsaking you. Let me lead you not only in the moments when you seek me with passion, but also in the ordinary moments of life when you feel uncertain, when you are struggling, when you are simply trying to make it through another day. I am not present only in places you call sacred. I am present within you. As it is written, I will live with them and walk among them. 2 Corinthians 6:16. My presence is not limited by place or circumstance. You can find me in the stillness of the morning, in the steady rhythm of the afternoon, and in the quietness of the night. I am the light at the beginning of your day, and the peace that rests upon you when you close your eyes. You do not need to strain to become good enough before me. I do not love you because you do everything right, but because I am love. As it is written, we love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. You only need to live honestly, honest with yourself, honest with me, and honest about the journey you are walking through. When you become aware that you are loved without condition, you will slowly learn how to love in return, not through force or performance, but naturally, like water flowing from a spring. And from that place, you will begin to walk more gently and more deeply, no longer driven by comparison or the pressure to become someone else. Do not measure your life against the journeys of others. What I am writing through your life is unique and cannot be repeated. As it is written, we are his workmanship, created for good works, which God prepared beforehand for us to do. Ephesians 2:10. You do not need to become anyone else in order to have value. You only need to fully live the calling I have placed within you. The dreams I planted in your heart are not selfish ambition, but a response to my invitation. Nurture them, care for them, and allow them to grow through obedience, an obedience that is not heavy, but beautiful, like a flower blooming in its appointed season. You are deeply precious in my eyes, and that is never changed. No mistake you make can cause me to withdraw my love. No moment of weakness will make me turn away from you. As it is written, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Jeremiah 31:3. That love does not fluctuate according to your behavior. I do not create distance because of disappointment, nor close the door because of anger. I stand there patiently and gently waiting for you to return. And every time you come back, I do not bring up your old failures. I simply open my arms and say, come in. You are home. So come near to me without hiding, without trying to prove anything. Come like a child who knows they will not be rejected. In me, you can exhale, lay down your burdens, and begin again. As it is written, come to me, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. In me, you will not find condemnation, but restoration. And as you remain close to me, you will begin to see everything through a different light, not through fear or shame, but through kindness and eternal purpose. The clarity you are searching for will come, but not like a blinding flash that overwhelms you. It will come like the morning light, gentle, patient, spreading little by little. As it is written, the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn. Proverbs 4:18. You will slowly realize that your heart is no longer as restless as it once was. The things that once confused you will begin to feel simpler. A new order will begin forming within you, not because you forced it into place, but because you remained long enough within my presence for it to grow naturally. And then you will be surprised to realize that you are no longer chasing after empty things, no longer rushing everywhere in search of answers. You will begin walking with steadiness, even while there are still things you do not fully understand. Like a tree deeply rooted in the soil, you will grow naturally, not loudly, but securely. And within that growth, you will come to understand that I have always been there, guiding you step by step, day by day, with a love that never changes. Beloved child, let the things I speak not remain only in your ears, but become the very life flowing within you, sinking into every thought, every breath, every decision you make each day. Do not merely listen and move on, but allow these truths to take root, grow, and bear fruit within your life. As it is written, "Blessed is the one who delights in the law of the Lord. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water." Psalm 1, 2, 3. When you hold my words within your heart, you will no longer be carried away by the winds of emotion or by negative voices around you. The truth that you are loved, chosen, and sustained is not simply beautiful language. It is the foundation upon which everything in your life will stand. I know the burdens you carry, the things you have never spoken aloud, the worries you hide even while you pray. But beloved, nothing is hidden from me. As it is written, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. I do not merely see your burdens. I am willing to carry them with you. You do not need to understand exactly how I will work. You only need to trust that you were never meant to carry these things alone. And when you begin to release them, you will discover a support unlike anything you have known before, a hope not dependent upon circumstances, but anchored firmly in me, the one who never changes. I am closer to you than you realize, not distant, not difficult to reach. You do not need polished prayers in order to come before me. Even a sigh is enough for me to hear you. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. I hear even the things you cannot yet put into words. When you speak to me honestly, without performance or pretense, that is where your faith begins to grow stronger. Every small prayer, every moment you choose trust instead of fear, every time you turn back toward me, all of these things are deepening roots within you that no storm will ever be able to uproot. Beloved child, every time you place a worry into my hands, you are not only letting go of what burdens you, you are also creating sacred space for my presence to dwell within you. You may think you are losing something when you surrender it, but in truth, you are receiving far more than you can measure. I never leave empty spaces within you abandoned. As it is written, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. John 14:27. That peace is not merely a passing emotion, it is a reality I place deep within you, quiet, profound, and untouched by the chaos around you. As you learn to release your burdens and allow me to fill those spaces, you will realize that something within you is being rebuilt, little by little, not through loud displays of strength, but through a quiet endurance as steady as stone. You may not notice the transformation immediately, but over time, you will begin to see something very different within yourself. You no longer react the way you once did. The things that once filled you with panic no longer control you as before. Not because you have become numb, but because I have planted a garden within you, a garden of peace that I, myself, tend each day. As it is written, those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken. Psalm 125:1. You will stand firm, not because storms never come, but because your roots have reached deeply into a source of life that cannot be moved. And the day will come when upheavals rise around you, when others are overwhelmed, when circumstances suddenly shift, and you will realize that your heart is no longer carried away as it once was. You will no longer be consumed by anxious what-if questions, but instead filled with a quiet yet powerful certainty. No matter what happens, I am still here. This will not be a phrase you repeat merely to comfort yourself, but a truth that has taken deep root within you, becoming the natural response of a heart that has learned to trust. And that peace, quiet, unshaken, without display, will become the clearest testimony of my presence within you. Others may never fully understand the journey you have walked through, but they will see the result, a person who is not easily shaken, a person carrying a steadiness the world cannot explain. As it is written, the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds, Philippians 4-7. That peace will not remain only within you. It will overflow and touch the people around you as well. Do not hesitate to place into my hands the things you are still holding on to. Do not fear the emptiness that may appear, because it is within that very space that I begin to work. Every time you release something, I rebuild something deeper within you. Every time you choose trust, I strengthen the foundation beneath your soul. And over time, you will become someone no longer defined by what happens around you, but by the one who lives within you, me, the unfailing source of peace, the one who keeps you standing firm through every change. So do not rush yourself. Do not fear that you are not enough, not ready, not fully understanding. You are already loved completely and without condition. As it is written, I have loved you with an everlasting love, Jeremiah 31-3. That love does not change according to your progress. You only need to keep walking day by day, step by step, breath by breath with me. And through that very journey, you are being shaped, transformed, and prepared for what lies ahead. Rest in this unchanging truth. You belong to me, not because you have always been strong, but because I have chosen you. When the world shifts, when your emotions rise and fall, when the words of others come and go, I remain there, never leaving. As it is written, I am with you always, Isaiah 41:10. I surround you like the air you breathe, sustaining you through every rhythm of life. And every heartbeat within you, whether fast or slow, is precious before me, like a melody I never stop listening to. Beloved child, there are seasons when I enter your life, not through thunder upon mountaintops, nor through flashes of lightning that make everyone turn and stare, but through a tenderness so deep and hidden that it feels like morning dew settling quietly upon a field before the sun has fully risen. You often believe renewal must come dramatically, with unmistakable signs that immediately tell you everything has changed. But I, the one who created both the stars and the smallest, trembling within your heart, often begin my most sacred work through quiet movement. As it is written, the kingdom of God does not come with visible signs, Luke 17:20. In the same way, many of the things I am restoring within you do not begin outwardly, but in the secret places of your soul. And one day, you will realize that you no longer tremble before the things that once filled you with fear. You will walk past an old memory without feeling your heart pulled backward into pain. You will breathe more freely within the very room that once made you feel suffocated. And when that day comes, do not dismiss it as something small, because it is not small at all. It is my fingerprint upon your soul. I know there were times when you asked me for a clearer sign. You wanted to hear a confirmation, to see a door open directly before your eyes, to receive something strong enough to silence every doubt within you. But beloved, faith does not grow only when you witness miracles. Faith also grows when you realize your breathing has become more peaceful, even though your circumstances remain unchanged. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds. Philippians 4:7. That peace does not always arrive like a rushing river. Often it comes like a hidden spring beneath the earth, quietly flowing through the driest places within you. When you are no longer crushed beneath an old burden, when fear no longer controls your reactions as it once did, when you can remain silent without falling apart, forgive without losing yourself, and continue walking without needing applause, that is when I am renewing you from within. Do not judge your progress too quickly simply because it has not yet become visible before the eyes of others. A seed is not buried in the ground to be forgotten. It is hidden so it can prepare to rise. Roots are unseen, yet without them no tree could stand against the storm. That is what I am doing within you. I do not merely want to place a peaceful appearance upon you. I want to establish peace as a foundation within you. I do not simply want you to look strong. I want you to be healed so deeply that strength is no longer a mask you struggle to wear, but a quiet life flowing naturally from inside you. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Psalm 1:3. Do you see? Beloved, a tree bears fruit not because it strains before others, but because it is rooted in the right place. When you remain in me, even when you do not yet see fruit, your roots are still drinking from life itself. Remember Naaman, the great commander who carried within his body the disease of leprosy. He expected a dramatic healing. He imagined the prophet Elisha would come out, wave his hand over the disease, and perform something magnificent before his eyes. But the instruction he received was simple: go and wash 7 times in the Jordan River. It seemed so ordinary that his pride almost caused him to miss the miracle. Yet when he humbled himself, when he obeyed that small instruction, his flesh was restored like the flesh of a child. 2 Kings 5:10-14. Beloved, perhaps I am inviting you into that same river of humility. Not every healing comes through thunderous moments. Some miracles unfold through quiet obedience, through one small step, through a morning when you choose prayer instead of despair, through a night when you choose surrender instead of clinging to pain. So when you notice yourself feeling even slightly lighter, give thanks. When you realize that old wounds no longer control your reactions the way they once did, bow your heart and recognize that I am there. When the past no longer calls your name with the same power as before, understand that the chains have already begun to fall away. Even if the sound is very soft, I never overlook the smallest change within you, because I know how many silent nights you had to endure just to arrive at one peaceful breath. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 36:26. A new heart does not always arrive like an instant burst of fire. Often it comes like the dawn, slowly pushing back the darkness, until one day you look around and realize the night no longer covers you as it once did. Beloved child, I do not work halfway within you. What I begin, I will complete in my perfect time. But you must learn to recognize the gentle signs of grace. Do not search for me only in the large doors that open. Recognize me in the new calmness quietly growing inside you. Do not wait only for changes that others can see. Treasure the changes that only you and I know about. There are victories that are never publicly announced, yet heaven celebrates them. There are tears no one ever wiped away, yet I have gathered every one of them. There are burdens you thought you would carry for the rest of your life, yet I am patiently loosening every knot so your soul will not be wounded further by haste. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. Isaiah 42:3. I do not come to crush the fragile parts within you. I come to lift them up, heal them, and teach them how to sing again. So continue walking with me and trust. Do not despise small beginnings, for in my hands, even the smallest seed can become shelter for many weary souls. Do not dismiss quiet peace simply because it does not resemble the miracle you once imagined. That very peace is the new ground I am laying beneath your feet. One day, you will look back and understand that I was never absent during the quiet seasons. I was there very near, very gentle, very faithful, working in the deepest places unseen by human eyes. And as that work grows within you, you will not merely be changed outwardly. You will become a new person from the roots upward, steadier, gentler, clearer in spirit, because I did not touch you merely to make you shine for a moment, but to allow my life to flow through you throughout the entire journey. Beloved child, I want you to understand that peace within the body does not mean a life without weariness, without aches, without moments of weakness, or mornings when you wake with heavy shoulders, a tense back, and uneven breath. Peace is not the total absence of discomfort. Peace is knowing how to return, how to listen, how to pause before both soul and body collapse from exhaustion. There are times when I am not calling you to move faster, but inviting you to slow down so you may be healed. There are moments when obedience is not found in doing one more thing, but in knowing when to lay something down. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10 is not only a word for a troubled mind, but also for a body that has been stretched too tightly for too long. When you slow your breathing, when you place your hand upon your chest and remember that you are alive before me, when you allow your shoulders to relax after long hours of carrying burdens, that is not weakness, it is holy wisdom. You do not need to turn your body into a symbol of perfection in order to be worthy of love. I do not look at you through the eyes of the world, which measures worth by appearance, productivity, speed, and outward performance. I see you as a creation made with wonder. As it is written, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139:14. Your body is not the enemy of your soul. It is the companion I entrusted to you for this earthly journey. It has carried you through countless long days, endured things you never even learned how to name, silently held stress, fear, anxiety, hope, and even the tears you tried to hide. So do not despise your body simply because it is not always as strong as you wish it were. Learn to care for it as you would tend a garden entrusted to you by my hands, not with haste, not with judgment, not with neglect, but with respect and gentleness. Sometimes you think you are tired only because your work is too heavy, your days too long, your responsibilities too overwhelming. But beloved, often the deepest exhaustion does not come from what you do. It comes from living out of rhythm for too long. You run when I asked you to walk. You strain when I asked you to lean upon me. You keep trying to prove yourself when I only wanted you to remain in truth. You have listened to so many voices around you that you can no longer hear the rhythm of your own breath within. But I am the gentle shepherd. I do not drive you into green pastures with force and pressure. I lead you beside still waters. As it is written, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. Psalm 23:2. Let those words touch your body as well. Those still waters are not always somewhere far away. Sometimes they begin in the simple moment when you sit upright. Breathe deeply. Unclench your hands. Stretch the parts of your body tightened by anxiety. And remind yourself, I am here. And you no longer need to run from the present moment. Remember Elijah, who once stood boldly before the prophets of Baal and called down fire from heaven, yet afterward became so exhausted that he sat beneath a broom tree and asked to die. I did not rebuke him for his weakness. I did not give him a long lesson about courage. I sent an angel to touch him and say, Get up and eat. 1 Kings 19:5. Before I spoke to him through the gentle whisper upon Mount Horeb, I first gave him rest, food, and care for his body. Do you see? Beloved, I do not separate your soul from your body as though one were sacred and the other unimportant. I know you need bread, water, sleep, breath, quietness, and moments of rest so your nervous system can stop sounding alarms. There are times when the most spiritual thing you can do is not to strive harder, but to receive the care I am placing before you. So when you adjust your posture, when you stand a little straighter, not out of pride, but so your body can breathe more freely, when you gently roll your neck, stretch your back, relax your shoulders, and care for your breathing after a day stretched thin by life, do not think these things are insignificant. Such actions can become a form of prayer through the body itself. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit? 1 Corinthians 6:19. If your body is a temple, then every act of proper care is not vanity, it is reverence. You are not worshiping your body, but neither should you despise the place where I chose to place the breath of life. When you care for your body with awareness, you are saying, Father, I honor the gift you have entrusted to me. I will not use it merely as a tool to exhaust, but as a sacred space through which your life may be revealed. I do not want you to live as someone constantly pulled along by noise, schedules, comparison, and the fear of falling behind. A body at peace is not a body that never works. It is a body that knows how to work in order. Rest in trust, move with guidance, and pause without guilt. There is a time for everything, Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time to labor, and there is also a time to recover, a time to move quickly, and a time to stand still, a time to give, and a time to receive support in return. If you continually demand productivity from yourself by doing more and more, you may lose the holiest form of fruitfulness, living faithfully within what I have assigned to you. In the season I have led you into, and according to the rhythm I planted within you. I do not measure your life by the number of tasks you complete while exhausted. I look at your faithfulness in caring for what I entrusted to you, including your own body. And slowly, you will learn to love your body with a purer kind of love, not because it is perfect, but because it belongs to me, not because it always meets outward standards of beauty, but because I formed it with sacred intention, not through indulgence without discipline, but through care marked by awareness, moderation, and gratitude. When you eat in peace, rest in trust, move gently, breathe in the present moment, and listen to the quiet signals your body sends you, you are stepping into a deeper way of living, a life no longer driven by noise, but guided by my leading. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light, Matthew 11:30. What I place upon you is not meant to crush you. What I place upon you is meant to lead you into life. So return to the sacred rhythm I planted within you. Beloved child, do not call rest laziness. Do not call caring for yourself selfishness. Do not call slowing down failure. When you live according to the right rhythm, you will realize you no longer need to strain to prove your worth. When you learn to listen, you will begin to discern the difference between my voice and the noise of pressure. When you honor your body, you will understand that it is not an obstacle to your spiritual life, but part of your living worship. I desire for you to walk in wholeness, a mind at peace, a soul anchored, a body supported, and every breath becoming a reminder that you are held within my hands. Live slowly enough to recognize that I am near. Care for yourself deeply enough that you may continue loving others without becoming empty. And remember, You were not called to merely live more according to the demands of the world, but to live rightly within my peace. Beloved child, I want you to know that not a single righteous act of yours disappears into emptiness. There are things you do so quietly that even you do not consider them important. You step away from gossip when others invite you into it. You restrain your mouth from speaking sharp words, even when you feel justified in responding. You send a brief message to someone who is weary. Place a small sign of love into another person's dark day. Or simply sit quietly before me, instead of allowing your heart to run after anger. You may think these are insignificant things, but I see the doors of grace opening through those very choices. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. Do not wait until your life appears grand and impressive before believing that you matter. In my kingdom, a heart that knows how to love quietly can change the atmosphere around it far more deeply than loud achievements without love. Sometimes you do not realize that every time you choose what is right, you are partnering with light itself. Not every light bursts forth like fire in a public square. Some light enters the world gently, like dawn opening over the grass, like a kind word that gives another person strength to continue living. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. But understand this, beloved, that light does not need to draw attention to itself in order to carry power. When you refuse to pull others down through your words, you protect the atmosphere around you from becoming poisoned. When you choose silence not out of fear, but because you do not wish to wound another soul further, you are sowing peace. When you speak a timely word of encouragement, you may be preventing a heart from sinking deeper into despair. I see it all, even the things no one thanks you for. No one notices. No one realizes required you to overcome yourself in order to choose goodness. Remember the young servant girl in Naaman's house. Her name was never recorded with honor, like the names of kings, and her position seemed insignificant in the eyes of the world. She was only a child taken from her homeland, living in the house of a commander suffering from leprosy. Yet, from her small voice came a simple direction. If her master would go to the prophet of God, he could be healed. That one seemingly ordinary sentence opened the way for a great miracle. And Naaman was restored after obeying the instruction to wash 7 times in the Jordan River. 2 Kings 5:2-14. Do you say, beloved, I do not require a grand stage in order to begin a great work. Sometimes I place the key to a miracle into the hands of someone quiet and unseen. Within one small sentence, spoken at a moment no one considered important. So, do not underestimate the kind word you speak today. Do not dismiss the purity you preserve in the middle of a conversation. Do not believe that your hidden mercy accomplishes nothing. In my hands, a small seed can open the door to an entirely new season. And even now, as you sit quietly with the words I whisper into the hidden places of your soul, you may think that nothing remarkable is happening. There is no swelling music, no spotlight shining down, no crowd standing beside you to witness the changes within you. But beloved, the most sacred things do not always require dramatic settings. A seed does not begin to grow through noise. It breaks open in darkness beneath the soil, where no one can see it. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 12:24. Perhaps in this very quiet moment, something hardened within you is beginning to soften. An old way of thinking is being washed clean. A faith that had grown weak is receiving new breath. A dark place within your heart is being touched by a thin ray of light, small, gentle, yet real enough to begin a new dawn. Do not underestimate the miracles being planted within ordinary moments. A day when you choose not to give up, that is a miracle. A deep breath you take instead of allowing panic to control you, that is a miracle. A short prayer whispered when you do not even know what to say, that is a miracle. The moment you stand up, wash your face, open the window, and step back into the light after many dark days, that too is grace lifting you. I am not present only in dramatic events. I am also present in every small movement that brings you back toward life. Do not despise these small beginnings, Zechariah 4:10. You do not yet know what freedom tomorrow may be built upon the small choice you make today. You do not know how many things I am protecting through one moment when you choose to keep your heart pure. But I know, and I am using every ordinary act to build within you a steadiness that storms cannot easily shake. And in time, you will realize that the most beautiful life is not the loudest one, but the life that has been brought into the right rhythm within me. I am not calling you to run everywhere trying to prove your usefulness. I am calling you to remain in love, to stay faithful in what is before you, to be gentle in your words, pure in your thoughts, and steadfast in doing good. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6. Harvest does not always come the moment you sow. Flowers do not bloom simply because you are impatient. But if you nurture the small seeds of faith, if you protect the new light growing within your thoughts, if you refuse to let bitterness trample the tenderness I am restoring within you, then, in the right season, those small things will bear fruit. You will begin to notice a different kind of peace rising within yourself. You will find that you react more slowly to hurt, love more deeply, and discern more clearly what comes from me and what is merely the noise of the world. I will also work within your body, not only within your mind or spirit. You are not a soul trapped inside a body. You are a whole creation I formed with intention. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, 1 Corinthians 6:19. So, when I heal you, I do not touch only your memories, I touch your breathing. I do not merely renew your faith, I teach your shoulders how to relax, your footsteps how to walk in peace, your body how to stop living as though it must always defend itself. Perhaps you have grown accustomed to wearing tension like clothing, to tightening yourself before danger even appears, to living in constant self-protection until peace itself feels unfamiliar. But I will gently lead you out of that way of living, not through force, but through presence, not through condemnation, but through invitation. So before you look for dramatic transformation in every step, breath, or movement of your life, I want you to learn how to recognize miracles exactly where you are standing. They are found in the choice not to retaliate, in the hand you place upon your chest to remind yourself that I am still near, in the loving message you send without expecting anything in return, in the moment you say no to darkness even when no one else sees, in the holy silence when you sit before me and allow me to plant new life within you again. Beloved child, miracles are not always far away, not always waiting somewhere in the future, not always hidden in dazzling places. Often, the miracle is already here, in the ordinary life you are living, in the real breath you are taking, in the small light you continue to protect. Treasure it. Continue sowing goodness. Continue believing that I am working through you, within you, and around you. And when the right season comes, the quiet things of today will bloom into a beauty that even you will stand amazed by. Because I am the one who makes the smallest seed become a tree filled with shade, and who turns a faithful heart into a place where grace reaches many souls. Beloved child, I see the things you often overlook within yourself. I see your shoulders folding inward after so many days of trying to be strong. I see your back bending, not only because your body is tired, but because your heart has carried too many burdens you never truly laid down. I hear the heavy breaths you think no one notices, the uneven breathing when anxiety quietly rises within you, the moments when you try to appear normal while everything inside already feels overcrowded. But I do not look at you with accusation. I look at you the way a father looks upon a beloved child who needs support, for he knows how we are formed. He remembers that we are dust. Psalm 103:14. I know your limits. I know how many seasons of tension your body has endured, how many unspoken words, how many unnamed fears. And because I know, I do not come to force you to stand upright through sheer willpower. I come to remind you that you can stand upright because you are loved. There are changes I bring within you that do not begin in your thoughts, but in your breathing. You imagine healing happens only in memories, in prayers, in moments when tears pour out freely. Yet I also heal you in the way you sit down, in the way your feet touch the ground, in the way your shoulders learn to release their constant posture of defense. He himself gives everyone life and breath and everything else. Acts 17:25. Every breath you take is not merely a bodily function. It is a reminder that your life is still being held by me. When you slow your breathing, you are returning to the present moment. When you allow your body to stop chasing the noise around you, you open the door for peace to enter. And when you realize that you no longer need to tense yourself in order to be worthy, your body begins learning a new language, the language of trust. I want you to understand that your body often speaks the things your soul has not yet found words to express. A clenched jaw may be the trace of years spent trying to protect yourself. A racing heartbeat may be the alarm of a life lived too long in fear. A hurried way of walking may reveal that you still believe you must keep running in order not to be left behind. But beloved, I have not called you into a life of endless rushing. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. True strength is not always found in moving faster, doing more, or enduring longer. Sometimes strength is stopping before you break. Sometimes strength is taking a deep breath instead of reacting. Sometimes strength is recognizing that your body is tired and not calling that failure. When you learn to listen to these signals, you are not becoming weak. You are becoming wise. Remember the woman who had been bent over for 18 years in the synagogue. She had grown used to seeing life from a lowered posture, accustomed to carrying a body weighed down for so long. But when Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." And he laid his hands upon her, and immediately she stood upright and glorified God. Luke 13:11-13. Let that story sink deeply into your heart. I was not concerned only with her soul. I also cared about the back that had been bent, the vision that had been lowered, the body that had become accustomed to living beneath a heavy weight. And I am doing the same for you. I do not only want your mind to believe that you are loved, I want your body to know it too. So you no longer walk like someone condemned, no longer bend like someone without worth, no longer shrink yourself as though love always comes with conditions. You do not need a perfect body in order to live beautifully before me. You need a body treated with truth and mercy. The world may teach you to despise the parts that fail to meet its standards, pressure you into comparison, and urge you to change yourself through shame. But I do not heal you through shame. I heal you through love. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit? 1 Corinthians 6:19. If your body is a temple, then you must not speak to it with contempt. If your body is the place where I have placed the breath of life, then you must not treat it merely as a tool to exhaust. When you adjust your posture, when you gently stretch muscles tightened by stress, when you drink water with gratitude, when you slow your steps so your feet can truly feel the ground beneath them, you are learning to honor a sacred place. That is not vanity, it is care shaped by faith. Sometimes you think you are tired simply because you have done too much. But deeper than that, you are weary because you have been living outside the rhythm I placed within you. You do the right things, but from a posture of fear. You serve, yet forget to rest. You love others, yet withhold gentleness from yourself. You step into responsibility without stepping into dependence upon me. And so your body begins to speak. It grows tired, tense, heavy, and slow, not to fight against you, but to call you back home. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. What comes from me may require faithfulness, but it will not crush your soul beneath endless exhaustion. When a burden steals all your peace, all your breath, all your ability to love with purity, pause and ask me, is this truly coming from your leading, or from my fear of needing to prove myself? I want you to enter into the rhythm of faith, not the rhythm of pressure. The rhythm of faith is not so fast that you lose yourself, nor so stagnant that you bury what I entrusted to you. It is a rhythm guided by my presence, moments to move, moments to rest, moments to sow, moments to wait, moments to speak, moments to remain silent. There is a time for everything, Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time to work wholeheartedly, and there is also a time for your body to recover, a time to rise with strength, and a time to lie beneath the shadow of my wings, a time to move forward, and a time to adjust your posture, steady your breathing, and return your heart to truth. You are not falling behind when you live according to the right rhythm. You are simply being freed from a race I never asked you to run. And little by little, as your soul is healed, your body will begin telling a new story as well. Your footsteps will become less hurried, not because you lack purpose, but because fear no longer controls you. Your posture will become steadier, not because of pride, but because you know you belong to me. Your breathing will grow deeper, not because life no longer holds challenges, but because you have learned to anchor your heart in the one who cannot be shaken. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. Isaiah 26:3. That peace will not remain only within your words. It will flow into your eyes, your hands, and the way you walk through long days without losing tenderness. This is the beauty of true healing. It does not merely change the way you think, it changes the way you exist within the world. So do not separate caring for your body from your spiritual life. When you sleep enough so that irritation no longer rules you, that too is a way of preserving love. When you move your body gently so that life may flow through it freely, that too is a way of expressing gratitude for the gift of life. When you eat with awareness, rest without guilt, and listen to your heartbeat with kindness, you are learning to live as a faithful steward of what I have given you. Whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. Even the most ordinary acts can become holy when they are done within my presence. A breath can become a prayer. A step can become a returning. A moment of silence can become a doorway through which grace enters. Beloved child, I do not want you to live under constant pressure, nor do I want you to fall asleep within passivity. I want you to live rightly, in the right rhythm, the right calling, the right leading, and in the truth that you are already loved, not someone who must endlessly prove that you are worthy of love. Let your body be retrained by peace. Let your shoulders lower beneath my kindness. Let your back stand upright, not because of self-importance, but because of the dignity I placed within you. Let your footsteps move slowly enough to hear me, yet steadily enough to follow me. And when you feel tired, do not condemn yourself. Return to me. I will show you when to rest, when to continue, when to release, and when to receive. This is the way of life I am leading you into, not doing more in order to earn approval, but living rightly so that my life may flow through your soul. your body, and every breath within you. Beloved child, I know there are days when you want everything to happen more quickly. You want answers to arrive the moment your prayers leave your lips. You want doors to open before doubt even has time to enter your heart. You want to know exactly what lies ahead, so you no longer have to stand inside the vast silence of waiting. But, beloved, haste does not always bring you closer to what is good. Often it only pulls you farther away from the true voice deep within you. When you move too quickly, you may mistake noise for guidance, pressure for calling, and whatever arrives first for whatever is right. But I never lead you through panic. For God is not a God of disorder but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. What comes from me may call you into courage, but it will never strip away your deepest peace. So before you rush to decide, rush to speak, or rush to move forward, pause for a moment and allow my light to spread across your vision like dawn, slowly opening over a field after harvest. I do not live within the urgency of human fear. I am not pressured by clocks, by the fear of missing opportunities, or by the voices around you insisting that you must move faster. Rise higher. Go farther. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. 2 Peter 3:8. My timing is never late, and it is never rushed. It arrives with the precision of the one who knows both the season of sowing and the season of harvest, who understands when a seed must remain hidden beneath the soil and when it is time for it to break through the earth and rise. You often see only the moment directly before you, and so you mistake delay for loss. But I see the entire journey, and I know that if I were to place certain things into your hands too early, they could become burdens instead of blessings. Some doors remain closed not because I have forgotten you, but because I am strengthening your steps so that when you walk through them, you will not lose yourself along the way. During seasons of waiting, you may feel as though you are standing in a desert. Every direction appears the same. The sky feels silent. The ground beneath your feet feels dry and empty. There is no applause, no clear sign, no one arriving to confirm that you are still on the right path. But beloved, remember this: the wilderness is not only a place of lack in my hands, it is also a place of refinement. It was in the wilderness that the people of Israel learned that bread could fall from heaven, water could flow from a rock, and my presence could guide them through a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. He humbled you, causing you to hunger and then feeding you with manna to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Deuteronomy 8:3. So if you are walking through a quiet and barren season, do not immediately conclude that I am distant. Perhaps this is the very place where I am teaching you to recognize my guidance in a way that is deeper, steadier, and truer than all the noise surrounding you. I called your name before you even knew how to call your own. Before the world ever noticed you, you were already known within my heart. Before you had any achievement to present, I had already placed value upon your life. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. So do not let the silence of a season make you question your identity. You do not become meaningless simply because you have not yet been recognized. You are not forgotten simply because results have not yet appeared. You do not lose your worth because others seem to move ahead more quickly. I still call your name every day, not through harsh demands or urgent pressure, but through the patient tenderness of a father. And every time you turn your heart back to listen, every time you choose trust instead of panic, every time you remain in peace rather than running after anxiety, deeper roots of steadfastness are being planted within your soul. Remember Joseph, who received dreams while still young, yet the road toward their fulfillment passed through pits, slavery, and prison cells. If Joseph had judged his life by each isolated chapter, he might have believed the promise had died. But during those hidden years, I was shaping wisdom within him, faithfulness, leadership, and a spirit that bitterness could not consume. And then, at the appointed time, in a single day he was lifted from prison and brought before Pharaoh. And what once seemed like delay became part of the plan that would preserve many nations. Genesis 41:14-41. Do you see? Beloved, I do not waste hidden years. I do not forget the dreams I planted within you, but I prepare you for what I promised, so that when the door finally opens, you will not merely step into opportunity, you will possess the character needed to carry the purpose attached to it. So do not despise the quiet days. Those days are never empty when you remain in me. Every hour you choose not to surrender, to despair, is another stone being laid into your foundation. Every prayer whispered, even while nothing seems to change, is another root stretching deeper toward hidden water. Every time you refuse to force things according to your own timing, your soul learns, surrender a little more deeply. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. You do not need to see the entire map in order to walk in peace. You only need to hold my hand through the next step. And if the next step today is simply to wait with trust, then even your waiting becomes a holy act. I am shaping you the way a potter shapes clay upon the wheel. The clay does not understand why the potter presses down in one place, lifts another, adds water, turns the wheel, reshapes the curve, and patiently adjusts every detail. But the potter knows what the vessel is meant to become. Like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand. Jeremiah 18:6. Some of the pressure you feel is not meant to destroy you, but to form you. Some delays are not meant to disappoint you, but to deepen your heart. Some silences do not mean I have stopped speaking, but that I am teaching you how to listen differently. If you allow me to continue my work, you will enter your next season not with the immaturity of someone who only wants blessings, but with the maturity of someone who understands why blessings are given. And when the right moment finally comes, you will realize that what I prepared was never merely an outward opportunity, but an inward expansion. You will not only rejoice because a door opened, you will recognize how deeply you were changed while waiting before that door. You will not only see the destination, you will understand the meaning behind the journey. You will not only receive something new, you will finally see how faithfully I carried and cared for you through every step. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. Those words are not decorations for beautiful days. They are anchors for the days when you cannot yet see the road ahead. I do not promise that every journey will be short, but I do promise that when you remain in me, not a single part of the road will be without purpose. So, beloved child, release your hurry from your hands. Let your heart stop demanding that every answer arrive according to the timetable of fear. Walk instead within the sacred rhythm, slow enough to hear me, steady enough to obey, soft enough to be shaped, and courageous enough not to give up. When you begin living from a place of peace, your vision will widen. You will learn to discern which doors I am opening and which are merely shortcuts drawn by anxiety. You will understand that waiting is not being withheld from your future, but being prepared for it by my loving hands. And one day, when you look back, you will say with gratitude, Father, you were never late. You never forgot me. You made everything beautiful in its time. For He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. And you, my beloved child, are also being made beautiful within my timing. Beloved child, not every door opens the moment you knock. And not every silence means that I have rejected you. Some doors remain still through long seasons, until you begin to think their hinges have rusted and their locks have sealed shut, as though your prayers simply echoed into emptiness and fell away unheard. You have waited, asked, hoped, and tried every path you knew, yet everything has remained silent. But beloved, what appears closed in your eyes is not necessarily dead within my hands. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. When I have not yet opened a door, you cannot force it open through impatience without wounding yourself in the process. But when I open it, no power will be able to keep it closed. So do not measure my love by how long a door remains unmoving. Learn instead to recognize that delay within my hands may also be protection. There are things that, if they had arrived earlier, you would have called blessings, yet you would not have possessed the strength to carry them. There are places that, if you had entered them while your heart was still consumed by fear, would have turned opportunities into burdens. There are relationships, responsibilities, promotion, and expansions you have prayed for. Yet if I had given them to you at the exact moment you demanded them, those very things might have drawn you farther from me instead of nearer. I am not concerned only with whether the door opens. I care deeply about the person who will walk through it. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. You see delay, but I see preparation. You see a long hallway, but I see each step making your footing steadier. You believe you are being held back, but I am reshaping your heart so that when you step into what is new, you will not walk in with ambition alone, but with peace. Do not confuse my timing with luck. Beloved child, I do not write your life through random fragments falling together without order. I am the one who counts every hair upon your head, the one who knows what you need before you even ask, the one who sees the entire road while your eyes can only perceive a small portion ahead. From the beginning, I have declared the end, and from ancient times what is still to come. Isaiah 46:10. Today you may only see scattered pieces, a rejection, an unexpected encounter, a season of waiting, a skill developed in hiddenness, a pain that taught you humility, a word of wisdom arriving at the perfect moment, yet within my hands. All of those seemingly disconnected moments are being woven together into a tapestry whose pattern you cannot yet fully see. And when the right hour comes, you will understand that nothing was wasted when it was surrendered into my guidance. Remember Esther, who was brought into the king's palace through a journey that she herself likely did not fully understand at first. She could not foresee that her beauty, her wisdom, her silence at the right moment, her courage in the appointed season, and even her seemingly fragile position would become the doorway through which an entire people would be saved. When danger surrounded the Jewish people, Mordecai said to her, "Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Esther 4:14. Do you see? Beloved, some doors I open are not merely to lift you higher, but to place you exactly where you are needed for a purpose greater than yourself. That door did not open because Esther controlled every circumstance. It opened because my appointed time had arrived. And when that hour came, what was required of her was not perfection, but presence, obedience, and the courage to step into the role that had already been prepared for her. In the same way, when you begin to hear the hinges moving after a long season of silence, do not let fear cause you to retreat. Perhaps the door will open so suddenly that your heart barely has time to understand. Perhaps the very thing you once prayed for standing before you now will make your hands tremble. Perhaps you have grown so accustomed to living within the hallway of waiting that when the entrance finally appears, you wonder whether you are truly ready to walk through it. but I do not open doors in order to mock your weakness. I do not bring you to a new threshold, only to abandon you there. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 1:6. If I have prepared the door, then I have also prepared grace for your steps. If I am calling you into a new chapter, then I will also go before you into every page that has not yet been written. You often long for a dramatic sign, a thunderous voice, a confirmation visible to everyone around you. Yet many times I come in a silence that carries more weight than noise itself. I may open the door only after you stop pounding upon it, after you pause to breathe, after you release your need to control every detail and simply whisper, "Father, I trust you." It is precisely when you surrender control that your heart becomes soft enough to recognize my hand. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Psalm 37:7. That stillness is not passivity. It is the posture of faith. It is the moment when you stop using fear like a hammer against the door and instead place your ear against my heart to listen for the timing of grace. Quietly and patiently, I have been preparing the soil within you through many seasons you mistook for mere exhaustion. Just as a gardener does not only wait for flowers to bloom but also turns the soil, removes weeds, waters the roots, and shields young plants from harsh sun and violent wind, I too have been tending the hidden places within you. Some answers were delayed so your roots could grow deeper. Some promises remained unfinished so your hope would not attach itself to outcomes instead of to me. Some seasons of rain and scorching heat were not sent to dry you out, but to teach you endurance. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. You cannot see the seed beneath the earth, but I can. You cannot hear the roots stretching deeper, but I can. And when the season comes, new life will not ask permission from your doubts before rising through the ground. So when the door finally opens, walk through it with gratitude, not pride. Remember that it is not a reward for your perfection, but an expression of my grace. Yes, you have remained faithful. Yes, you have waited. Yes, you have learned many things within hidden places. But grace is still grace. It was never given so you could glorify yourself, but so you could recognize more deeply how good I truly am. For it is by grace you have been saved. Through faith, it is the gift of God. Ephesians 2. But every true door from me leads you into deeper humility, greater love, purer responsibility, and gentler dependence upon me. If a door causes you to forget the one who opened it, pause and examine your heart. But if that door makes you more grateful, more tender, more awake, and more eager to live rightly, then step through it with faith. I know there are days when your faith does not resemble a great torch, but only a small candle trembling in the wind. There are moments when you still believe, yet you believe through tears. You still pray, yet your prayers no longer feel strong as they once did. You still keep walking, yet every step feels heavy, as though you are moving through deep mud. I do not despise faith like this. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. Isaiah 42:3. I do not come to extinguish the last remaining light within you. I come to shield it from the storm, to breathe the warmth of my presence upon it, and to rekindle within you a flame more enduring than temporary emotions. You may think you are weak, but the very fact that you continue turning back toward me in the middle of your weakness is already a sign of life. Remember the widow of Zarephath during the time of famine. She had only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a jug, barely enough for what she believed would be the final meal for herself and her son. Yet when she obeyed and offered that small portion according to the word spoken through the prophet Elijah, I caused the jar of flour not to run dry and the jug of oil not to fail until rain returned upon the land. 1 Kings 17:12-16. Beloved child, what feels small in your hands may indeed be limited, but what is surrendered into my hands can become provision. I do not ask you to pretend that you possess abundance. I do not ask you to deny your exhaustion, your lack, or your fragility. I only invite you to believe that my grace is not limited by the amount you are holding. When you offer your little portion in faith, you open the door for my abundance to enter. So do not wait until you feel strong before you begin to love. Do not wait until all fear disappears before you walk in faith. Do not wait until your heart feels completely steady before speaking a kind word, doing good, or planting seeds of peace. Living faith is not faith that never trembles. It is faith that still turns toward me, even with trembling hands. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. If you move only when everything feels certain, you will remain trapped by control. But when you move, because you know I am faithful, even while the path ahead remains unclear, you begin learning a deeper kind of strength. The strength of one who believes not because circumstances are easy, but because they know their Father is good. Every day you choose to trust a little more. You move closer to what I have prepared for you. You will not always feel that progress happening. Roots do not make noise as they grow deeper into the earth. Seeds do not shout when they crack open. Dawn does not argue with the night. It quietly spreads until darkness can no longer hold its former place. In the same way, your small acts of faithfulness are building a hidden work within you. Do not despise these small beginnings. Zechariah 4:10. A prayer whispered today. A choice to forgive tomorrow. A refusal to give in to bitterness. A moment of encouraging another person. A decision to keep your heart pure when no one sees. Each one becomes another quiet stone laid into a foundation storms cannot easily destroy. Beloved child, I do not require you to display perfect faith before the eyes of others. I want you to bring me real faith, even if it is small, trembling, and mixed with sighs. A mustard seed is tiny, yet I said that faith, even as small as a mustard seed, can move what once seemed immovable. Matthew 17:20. The issue is not the size of your faith, but the one to whom your faith is attached. A small hand holding tightly to a greater hand is still led safely forward. A short prayer directed toward the living God still reaches heaven. A small but sincere heart is still a place where I delight to dwell. Do not compare your faith with the faith of others. Bring it back to me, and allow me to nurture it through my presence. And in time, you will discover that what seemed like tiny drops of water can soften entire fields of dry ground. The kindness you preserve does not disappear. The encouragement you offer does not dissolve into emptiness. The forgiveness you choose, even when no one understands the cost of it, still rises before me like a sweet fragrance. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown in His name. Hebrews 6:10. I do not forget what you do in hidden places. I do not forget the times you chose light when darkness seemed easier. I do not forget the days when you had only a little strength left, yet still used that little strength to do good. I am gathering those things together, watering them, multiplying them, and in the right season, they will bear fruit far beyond what you imagined. So come to me with the small things you hold today. Beloved child, do not hide them out of shame. Do not bury them because you think they are insignificant. Do not wait for a stronger version of yourself before you begin living faithfully. Bring me the last handful of flour, the 5 small loaves, the 2 simple fish, the flickering candle, the awkward prayer, the heart still learning how to trust. I will do my part. I will breathe warmth upon the ember still glowing within you. I will multiply what seems small into nourishment for many. I will use your softness to water dry and weary places. And when you look back, you will understand that great faith does not always begin with great actions. More often, it begins with a small heart, willing to place everything it has into the hands of the one who is able to do immeasurably more than all you could ask or imagine. So do not let the words I am planting in your heart drift past like a gentle wind and disappear. Keep them like precious seeds. Let them sink deeper than memory, down into the places where you have long lived through fear, self-protection, and old patterns. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, let your heart remember that I was already there before the day even began. Tonight, when you lie down, let my presence cover you like the shadow of peaceful wings. In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone. O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4:8. You do not need to solve everything before you are allowed to rest. You do not need answers to every question before you are embraced by me. Sleep like a child who is being watched over, not like a soldier trying to guard the whole world alone. And when there are things you still cannot put into words, bring even that silence to me. I do not only hear complete, beautiful, perfectly formed prayers. I hear the sigh caught in your chest. I hear the silence between your tears. I understand the things your lips still do not know how to name. The Spirit Himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. Romans 8:26. You never exhaust me with your questions. You do not burden me with pain that still returns again and again. I am your Father, and a father never grows weary of hearing his child come home. Come to me in strength and in weakness, in words and in silence, in the morning light and in the depths of night. I will continue pouring into you, continue sustaining you, continue illuminating your path, continue completing the work I began within you, until your whole life becomes a gentle song reflecting this truth. I am faithful. I am near, and I never abandon what I begin. I know there are parts of your story you once wished to hide forever, failures you feared others would discover, tears you wiped away quickly so no one would see, seasons when you fell, doubted, lost your rhythm, and believed you had lost yourself. But beloved child, nothing placed in my hands is ever wasted. All things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. I do not call evil good, but I do have the power to take even the things that wounded you and shape them into wisdom, mercy, and compassion within you. Some scars no longer stand as signs of shame. They become maps showing others that a way out of the valley truly exists. When you surrender your story with humility, I will turn it into light. Yet tell your story with love. Not from a need to be pitied, speak it with truth. Not bitterness, share it to lift others up. Not to prove who was right or wrong. Your story becomes holy ground when it is placed under my guidance. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver. Proverbs 25:11. Not every detail must be shared with everyone, but what I have healed within you can become healing balm for another soul at the right moment. Let me teach you when to speak, whom to speak to, how much to say, and from what kind of heart to speak it. When your testimony is born from peace, it will not leave you empty after giving it away. It will carry the fragrance of freedom. Then you will discover that gratitude and honest testimony flow from the same river. Gratitude rescues you from comparison, while testimony rescues you from believing your suffering was meaningless. When you become grateful, you no longer envy the light upon another person's path. When you testify, you allow the light I placed upon your own journey to shine for others. Declare His glory among the nations, His marvelous works among all peoples. Psalm 96:3. Marvelous works are not only seas parting or mountains moving. Marvelous works are also a heart once shattered, yet still learning to love. A soul once drowning in shame, now daring to stand again. A person who once lived in silent comparison, now able to say, "What the Father has given me is enough, and I will use it to love." Beloved child, leave behind the silent competition that has never brought life to your soul. Return to the portion of ground I entrusted to you. Water it with gratitude. Sow into it the lessons you learned through tears. Do not fear telling your story when I make a way. Because somewhere there is a person who does not need a flawless example. They need a real witness. They need to know that grace still works through imperfect lives. They need to hear that God did not abandon you in the darkness. And if He did not abandon you, He will not abandon them either. You do not need a grand stage. You only need a sincere heart, willing hands, deep gratitude, and obedience in the small things placed before you. From there, light will spread not loudly, not for display, but steadily like the dawn until many people see through your life that I am the one who heals, the one who lifts up, and the one who turns even broken stories into invitations to hope.